Welcome to the Curious Room. Today, we're stepping into a space that feels a little bit different.
Yeah, a bit of a shift in the energy today.
It really is. Usually we are out here in this deep dive, chasing down facts or, debunking myths. But today, I want to slow it down.
It's definitely a topic that needs a slower pace.
Right. I want you, the listener, to mentally just check your coat at the door and settle in, because we need to talk about something that is universally felt but so rarely actually analyzed.
We usually just try to survive it, honestly.
Exactly. So I want you to think about the last time you felt truly safe. Maybe it was in your apartment, the door is locked, your favorite show is on, and nobody needs anything from you.
That is a very specific kind of safety, though. It's the safety of control.
Yes, it's completely controlled. But now I want you to flip the switch. Think about a moment where you looked at someone you love deeply.
Like a partner or a child?
A parent, a best friend. And right in the middle of that really warm glow, you felt this sudden, sharp drop in your stomach.
Oh, that panic.
Yeah, that panic, a feeling like, oh, no, I have way too much to lose now.
Right.
Why does the absolute best feeling in the world, love, come with this built-in trapdoor of fear? Why does it make us feel so unsafe?
I mean, it is the central paradox of the human experience. We spend our whole lives trying to get comfortable.
Right.
Trying to secure our perimeter.
Keep the bad stuff out.
Exactly. And then we invite love in, which is essentially inviting a demolition crew straight into your living room.
See, that is exactly where I want to start today. We are exploring this idea of the gentle architecture of our hearts.
It's a beautiful phrase.
It is, but to be honest, when I first thought about this topic, I was a bit skeptical. Gentle architecture sounds really nice, but real life doesn't feel gentle.
No, it feels messy.
It feels incredibly messy. When I am vulnerable, I don't feel like a beautifully designed building. I feel like a turtle without a shell.
That is a very fair reaction. And I think we actually need to challenge that word gentle a little bit.
All right, let's do that.
When we talk about the architecture of the heart, we aren't talking about interior design. We're not picking out curtains. We're talking about structural engineering.
And structural engineering is serious business.
Very serious. So let's look at the blueprints. Before we fall in love, before we let people in, what does this house look like?
Well, I'll be honest, my single life house was great. It was efficient.
Let's call that the Fortress of One.
I love that. The Fortress of One.
It is a very sturdy structure. You decide exactly when the drawbridge goes down. You decide the temperature in the room. You decide where the furniture goes.
I never had to compromise on what to watch on TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Structurally, it is perfect because there are no variable loads. You're the only weight the floor ever has to support.
And that feels good. I really think we underrate that feeling. We talk about loneliness a lot in our culture, but we don't talk about the sheer comfort of emotional autonomy.
The comfort of knowing exactly where your boundaries are.
Right. I know exactly where my mood is. I'm not worried about someone else's bad day completely ruining my Tuesday.
Precisely. In the Fortress of One, your emotional economy is totally stable. You have high reserves, low risk.
Low risk, high peace.
But here is the structural problem with the fortress. It's static. It doesn't grow. It just sort of sits there.
It keeps the rain out.
It withstands the weather, yes, but it never becomes part of the landscape.
Right.
It's isolated. And then you meet someone.
And this is where the whole renovation starts.
It's more like a seismic retrofit, honestly.
What seismic retrofit? That sounds intense.
It's because it is. When you decide to love someone, you are trying to take a structure built for one person with all its load-bearing walls defined entirely by your needs, and you are trying to carve out space for a whole other human being.
Wow.
You are basically taking a sledgehammer to a load-bearing wall just to put in a new door.
But that sounds dangerous. If you knock down a load-bearing wall, the roof sags.
Or it collapses entirely. And that right there is the fear. That is the drop in your stomach you mentioned earlier.
So it's not just me being anxious.
No, it isn't just shyness or nerves. It is your literal survival instinct telling you that you are compromising the structural integrity of your life. You are removing the exact wall that protected you from pain.
Okay, so if I am hearing you right, vulnerability isn't just an emotion. It is a structural state.
Yes.
It is the moment the wall is gone, but the new support beam hasn't been put in yet.
Exactly. You are living in a construction zone. And what happens in a construction zone?
It's dusty.
It's dusty. There are holes in the exterior. It gets very drafty.
It gets so drafty. And I think that is what people, myself absolutely included, try to fix immediately.
We want to plug the hole.
Right. We feel that draft, that really sharp feeling of exposure. We think, oh, something is wrong. I need to patch this up right now.
We try to force the other person to fill the hole instantly.
Or we panic and try to brick it back up and push them out entirely.
We do. We panic because the cold air is uncomfortable. But the core concept here, the reality of this gentle architecture, is that the draft is not a defect.
A draft is the point.
The draft is the point. You simply cannot have a connection without an opening. If air can't get in, people can't get in.
That makes a lot of sense.
That drafty feeling is quite literally the physical sensation of having room for someone else.
But it is exhausting. Let's be real. Living in a drafty house is cold. It makes you shiver. You can't relax.
It does make you shiver. And this brings us to the economics of intimacy. We have to look at what you are actually trading here.
Okay, what's the trade?
You are trading the high security of your fortress for the high potential of a home.
Security for potential.
Yes. In a fortress, you are safe, but you are stagnant. In a home with open doors, you are vulnerable, but you are alive. You are actively trading safety for growth.
I want to ground this in something really practical for the listener, because we can sit here and talk about blueprints and fortresses all day, but the way this actually hits you is on a random Tuesday afternoon when you're just staring at your phone.
Ah, the famous 3 dots scenario.
Yes, the 3 dots. Everyone knows this feeling. You send a text, it's a little bit vulnerable.
Maybe it's an I miss you.
Or maybe it's even simpler, just the link to a song you really like, and then you wait, and nothing happens. Or the little typing bubbles pop up and then they just disappear.
The worst feeling.
In that exact moment, I am not thinking about structural engineering. I am thinking, I am an idiot and this person hates me.
Let's analyze that specific panic.
Right.
Because why does it feel so catastrophic? It is just a text message.
Right.
Logically, you know they might be driving, they might be working, or asleep.
Logically, sure, I know that. But emotionally, it feels like I walked out on a stage, poured my heart out, and the entire audience just silently got up and left.
It feels exactly that way because you have lost narrative control.
Narrative control.
Think about it. In your fortress of one, you completely control the story of who you are. I am cool. I am interesting. I am totally self-sufficient.
Right, I'm doing great on my own.
The second you send that text, you have handed the pen over to someone else. You are saying to them, here, you write the next line of my story.
And they might write something I really don't like.
Or worse, they might not write anything at all. They might just leave the page blank.
That is the risk.
That is the liquidity of the self. When we are guarded, we are solid. We are frozen, in a way.
Unchanging.
Yes. But when we become vulnerable, we become liquid. We flow toward the other person. But because we are liquid, we can spill.
We can make a mess.
We can be rejected.
Yeah.
That silence on the phone is the feeling of your liquid self hitting a solid wall and splashing right back onto you.
Splashing back. Wow. It is humiliating.
It really is. It feels deeply like shame.
And I think that is exactly why so many of us try to play it cool, especially early on. We try to be low maintenance.
Oh, definitely.
We try to act like we don't have walls and we also don't have needs. We just try to float above the whole thing.
Ah, the cool girl or cool guy trap. We see that everywhere.
Yeah, we do.
But that is really just a different kind of fortress. It's a fortress made entirely of glass.
Because it looks open.
Exactly. It looks open because you can see inside, but it is actually sealed airtight. If you never admit that you need anything, if you never admit that you are hurt or scared, you are actually letting anyone in.
You're just performing.
You are performing openness. It's an illusion.
That hits pretty close to home. Because real vulnerability is ugly sometimes. It's not a cute romantic movie scene. It's looking at someone and saying, hey, you really hurt my feelings. Or, I am incredibly insecure about this thing.
Consider the simple act of apologizing. That is a massive structural risk.
Oh, apologizing is the worst.
When you genuinely say I was wrong, you are willingly pointing out a crack in your own foundation.
Yeah.
You are telling your partner, look, I am not perfect. There is a fracture right here.
And the fear is that they will look at that crack and condemn the house.
Right. They'll say, this isn't up to code. I'm leaving.
That is the absolute nightmare. That once they actually see the mess behind the drywall, the anxiety, the jealousy, the weird habits, they will just revoke the permit and walk away.
And that is exactly why it is brave. I do not use that word lightly. We always think of bravery as storming into battle, shielding ourselves.
Putting on armor.
Yes.
Wow.
But in the context of love, bravery is standing in your own living room, completely surrounded by dust and renovation debris, and saying, this is the mess. Do you still want to live here with me?
Man. So if we accept that this is inherently scary and that it is actually supposed to be scary, What do we do with that feeling?
That's the real question.
Because just saying be brave is a lot easier said than done. When I'm in that panic spiral about a text or an argument, I usually just get angry at myself. I tell myself to toughen up, stop being needy.
That is by far the most common reaction. We judge the fear, we feel the draft, and instead of acknowledging it, we say, I shouldn't be cold, I should be tougher than this.
Right, what's wrong with me?
But doing that is just adding a second layer of remodeling stress on top of the first one. Now you are stressed about the relationship, and you are stressed about your own emotional reaction to it.
It's the double whammy. I am terrified you will leave me, and I am furious at myself for being terrified in the first place.
We really need to swap that judgment for what we can call investigative curiosity.
Investigative curiosity. Okay, how does that actually work in practice?
Imagine you are walking through your house and you suddenly feel a cold draft. You don't scream at the wind, right?
Right, that wouldn't help.
You suddenly hate the house.
Yeah.
You pause and you say, oh, there's a breeze. That is because the door is open. Why is the door open? Because I'm waiting for someone to arrive.
So you completely reframe the physical symptom, the shaking hands, the tight chest. Those aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of occupancy.
Exactly. They're proof of value.
Proof of value.
Think about it. We do not get that shaky, terrified feeling for people who don't matter to us. If a total stranger doesn't text you back, you don't care at all.
Not even a little bit.
The intensity of the fear is a direct measurement of the value of the connection. It is the receipt for the transaction.
The receipt for the transaction. I really like that. It's like, well, I paid a lot for this connection, so yeah, my emotional wallet feels pretty light right now.
And this leads us to a very practical tool. When you feel that vulnerability, that draft we keep talking about, don't try to frantically brick up the wall again.
Don't push them away.
Don't try to force the other person to close the door to make you feel better either. Just put on a sweater.
Put on a sweater. I mean, that sounds a little too simple, doesn't it?
It sounds simple, but think about what it actually means. It means you accept the climate you have chosen.
Wow. Accept the climate.
You chose to live in an open house because you deeply wanted love. The cost of an open house is the weather. Putting on a sweater means self-soothing.
Taking care of yourself in the discomfort.
Yes. It means saying to yourself, I am feeling anxious right now. That is okay. I can handle a little bit of anxiety. I don't need to burn the entire house down just to get warm.
It's about increasing your own tolerance for the draft. Instead of demanding the other person fix it instantly, you sit with it. You say, okay, I am feeling very vulnerable. I'm just going to breathe through this until I get home.
Yes, because if you panic and slam the door shut every single time it gets a little breezy, you eventually break the hinges.
The relationship breaks down.
You have to build the stamina to stay open, even when it feels unsafe. That is the true, gentle architecture. It is a structure that is strong enough to remain open.
I want to look at the logic of this trade-off one more time before we start to wrap up, because there is a profound logic to it. We aren't just doing this for fun or to torture ourselves.
No, absolutely not.
We are doing it because the fortress of one eventually gets really, really lonely.
It does. We are social animals. We are simply not designed for solitary confinement, even if it is a luxury, climate-controlled confinement.
Right.
But there's a very strict rule in the logic of love. You cannot be held if you are not reachable.
That is the kicker right there. You cannot be held if you are not reachable.
And if you are reachable, you are strikeable. You are within range of being hurt. You cannot selectively filter human touch.
We try to, though.
We try so hard. But you cannot say, I only want the warm hugs, but I want to be entirely immune to the cold shoulders. The exact same skin that feels the caress is the skin that feels the bruise.
And we try so hard to hack that system. We really do. We try to be in love, but totally independent. We try to keep one foot out the door so we can run if things get too real.
And that is exactly why so many relationships feel stalled out. Because both people are just standing in the doorway, neither fully in nor fully out.
Letting all the heat out.
Letting all the heat out, but never actually living together in the space. Eventually, you have to step all the way in and pull the door closed behind you, trapping yourself in with the other person.
Trapping yourself in, that is the commitment part.
That is the terrifying part. You are trapped in the room with the potential for massive pain.
But you are also trapped in the room with the potential for being known.
And that is the only thing that actually satisfies us as humans. Being truly known. When someone sees the cracks and the bad wiring and the mess you've been hiding, and they just sit down on the floor with you and say, this is a good home.
Yeah.
That feeling, you cannot buy that. You cannot build that alone in a fortress. You can only get it by risking the collapse.
It's so interesting. We started this deep dive talking about how scary this is. And honestly, I don't think we have made it sound any less scary. If anything, realizing that it's a structural seismic retrofit makes it sound even more intense.
We shouldn't try to make it less scary. Fear is the appropriate response to risk. We should try to make it feel more worth it.
More worth it.
If you understand what you're actually building, the dust and the noise are tolerable. If you just think it's random chaos, it's unbearable.
So the chaos has a purpose. We are actively expanding the square footage of our hearts.
We are turning a studio apartment into a mansion. It's going to take some serious work.
As we wrap up this session in the Curious Room, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final image. We have talked a lot today about walls coming down. And usually when we think of a wall coming down, we just think of the mess. We think of the debris everywhere.
But we forget why we knock down walls in the real world. We don't do it just to make a mess.
No, we do it for the view. We do it to connect rooms. So here is my question for you to carry with you today. If vulnerability is just the feeling of a wall coming down, what view does that open up for you?
What can you see now that you couldn't see from inside your fortress? Maybe you could see a future. Maybe you can see the other person clearly for the very first time. Or maybe you can just see that you are actually strong enough to survive the weather.
It is a view that is definitely worth the renovation costs.
It is. Just remember to keep your sweater handy.
Always. Thank you for entering the Curious Room with us today. Be gentle with your renovations. We will see you next time.
Goodbye.